Welcome to the NCDWI Guide podcast, where defenders of the Constitution assemble to prepare for courtroom battle and firm owners gather to develop marketing strategies that will revolutionize the practice of criminal defense. Here's your host, the NCDWI guy, Jake Minnick.
Hello, fellow freedom fighters, and welcome to episode 244 of the NCDWI Guide podcast. This is the last episode being recorded in 2024. It is New Year's Eve, the date of this recording. This is going to air tomorrow on New Year's Day, so this will be the first episode of 2025. And today we are going to talk about being a visionary of the year for small business owners, for law firm owners, for anybody that's in a ownership, CEO, president, whatever made up title that you want to call yourself, founder, member, whatever it is, whatever made up title it is that you call yourself in being the primary operator, the primary owner of your business. One of your key roles is being a visionary for your law firm. And this is true if you are the sole person in your law firm. There's no other employees. There's no other associate attorneys, paralegal, intake team member. If you're the solo, then this applies as much to you as it does to a law firm of 50. You have to have a vision for your firm. That's part of being the entrepreneur that kicks off the business, that kicks off the law firm. And where there is a struggle, once you have at least one other person on your team in a small business, is communicating the vision that you have for your firm to somebody else on the team. So, first major hurdle is figuring out what your vision is. And as I've shared on the podcast in the past, it took me years to figure out what our vision was. Nearly 10 years. It was started the law firm in 2010. It was effectively like 2019 going into 2020 that we really kind of got a real solid vision in terms of mission, core values, brand promises, big, hairy, audacious goals, quarterly rocks, really had a vision for the firm into the future. Then it's been a second hurdle trying to figure out how to best communicate that vision to everybody else on the team. So this episode, we are talking about the vision that you have, and this is true regardless of what role you have within a law firm, whether you're somebody in intake, whether you're an associate attorney, whether you're working in the public defender's office, regardless of what your role is. If you want to have an incredible 2025, you have to be a visionary for your year. You have to know what 2025 looks like before it happens. Most people go into 2025 with this idea that, hopefully things will go better next year. My wife just sent me a funny note because one of our daughters has been dealing with constipation. It's been a rough little bit on her end, and definitely, trying to all kinds of medicine and prune juice, pear juice, the whole thing, to help with this problem. But my wife sent me something that is funny as it relates to that, but also true of 2025. She said, or this text that she sent, which is a meme, says, "Don't forget to poop before midnight on the 31st December 2024. You don't want to carry the same shit into 2025." appropriate because of what we've been dealing with personally, but also appropriate in terms of going into 2025. I think most people have this excitement about a new year. We get to turn a new page. 2025 is going to be different. And, here's the habits that I'm going to do that are going to make things go differently in 2025. And so we are all focused on January 1st and what major changes that we're going to make in our lives going into the new year, the new habits that we're going to develop. But we don't have a big picture plan of what our year is going to look like from a visionary perspective. We don't have a good idea of how 2025 fits into our 10-year life goals, how it fits into our kind of personal and professional plan for success and growth. And so somebody that I've followed for a long time, Jesse Itzler, famous entrepreneur, huge in the running community. And so definitely have followed him in the running world as well. But really his conversation about business is unbelievable. The first time and only time that I saw him in person, he showed up basically impromptu to the CRISP Game Changers Summit in 2018, was like a very last second guest speaker, lives in the Atlanta area. David Goggins was one of the speakers at that first summit. And Jesse lived with David Goggins for a year and wrote a book about it. And so I think that's why he just kind of came and appeared. And his kind of impromptu talk that I think was like off the cuff was about 12 minutes long and probably the most powerful in-person speech that I have ever heard. So from that moment, it was like, man, and he was dressed like a homeless person. So when he first got up on stage, I was like, what in the heck? Like, who is this? Who is this guy? And just delivered this incredible talk about how you need to have a plan for your life so that somebody else does not make it for you. But Jesse Itzler has put together what he calls the Big Ass Planner and the Big Ass Calendar. And so for this year, I got both. These were both Christmas gifts that I had specifically asked for, but got the Big Ass Planner. It's a great way of visualizing your year. And then along with that is the Big Ass Planner. So let me get this real quick. So I'm going to show it for those of you that are watching this on YouTube, the size of this thing. This thing is about, let's see, this thing is probably about 2.5 feet by 3.5 feet, somewhere in that range. And it basically has my visual, our family visual for 2025 all in one place. Yeah, I'm showing it. It's all mapped out. It's a great, it's huge, it's huge, but it's got the entire year all on one page. And it allows for us as a family to think through what are the things that we want to have set in stone going into 2025. What are the big trips that we have planned as a family? What are the big trips that we have planned as individuals? My daughter and I are going to a basketball game in South Carolina in February. My wife is trying to plan a ladies' weekend at the beach. A silent retreat that she's trying to go to. I've got races that I'm going to be involved in on there. So big family events, both at kind of the global family level as well as individuals. It's got big business dates that are on there for the law firm and for the freedom fighters community. Got our big CLEs, the attacking speed in a DWIK CLE that's going to be at Campbell Law School in March, on March 7th, July 18th, negotiating and mitigating in criminal cases in Charlotte. That's going to include a Charlotte Knights event. And then obviously the Freedom Fighter Summit from October 1st to 3rd. Super excited to have James Lawrence, the Iron Effing Cowboy, coming to the Freedom Fighter Summit as our keynote speaker. I could not be more pumped about our keynote speaker for this year's summit. He is going to blow the roof off. But I can visually see where I want to kind of put the big pieces of my life in 2025, because without that, 2025 becomes a series of days, meetings. It becomes a series of phone calls, court dates, follow-ups, driving, because everybody else will dictate to us what our calendar looks like. As a lawyer, you need to have time that is designed to improve in the practice of law, to work on your business. Most importantly, time to spend getting closer to your family and growing your relationships, the key relationships that are most important in your life. And this is why secured leave exists, because it's important to map these things out. I was at a meeting with a few attorneys from the Freedom Fighters community in Hickory at our goals planning session back a couple of weeks ago. And one of them said, hey, you get 3 weeks of secured leave, but you have the ability to ask the senior resident judge for additional weeks of secured leave. And in his local district, several of the lawyers have asked for 2 additional weeks of secured leave, whether that is to give them time at their office to basically not have to be in court and to be able to plan appropriately for their businesses, to be able to kind of work on their practice and systems, obviously for vacation and time away to rejuvenate. But you have to be intentional about what you want your 2025 to look like. And this calendar is so amazing because it basically kind of requires me, it required me and my wife to sit down and have a planning session about what do we want our 2025 to look like? What are the key events, the key moments that we want to build into 2025, and not let it be by happenstance and all kind of organized around the other mundane tasks, meetings, agenda, routines that we are going to undoubtedly fall into. Now, it doesn't mean you can't have spontaneity. A lot of what is built into this calendar, there are some things that are probably going to get shifted around, things that are going to have to get moved because of illness, some sort of family thing that comes up, whatever it might be. There's going to be other items that come up that kind of require a readjust on what the vision looks like. But by setting out the vision from the get-go, it is so much easier to then hold the line when it comes to the important events, the important trips, the important time away that you want to plan for 2025. So as you go into this new year, don't go into the new year playing defense. Most of us play defense when it comes to our calendar. Most of us, plan a trip a few weeks out, potentially have to move some cases around, Now, a superior court matter gets scheduled for that same time frame, and we have to go beg and plead for some sort of readjust on that front, or we just decide it's not worth it. We're just never going to take time off, and hopefully something will just come up where I magically have 5 business days in a row with no court, which is never going to happen. We just don't really think from a strategic perspective of how we want our year to look, how we want, what our vision is for the year. We play defense. We're just trying to kind of keep our time, and people are constantly tugging and pulling at it. Instead, we need to go on attack mode, and we need to say, in a perfect world, in a world where 2025 has gone through the roof, what does that look like? What events, what relationships have been built out of 2025 that I want to be able to show come December 31st of next year, 365 days from the date of this recording? What do I want to look at? Do I want to look at this calendar and see that I basically checked the boxes on it? Yes, that would be a huge win. That would be a huge win. And by building these blocks into the calendar, it then becomes easier to say no to other opportunities, to say no to things that come up that might be good, but again, aren't part of the vision for 2025. Could be making sure that we get secured leave on the calendar for those dates that are going to be important. It could be that we are going to have to be proactive about getting cases continued in district court around the important events, vacation, time away, CLE, mental focus that we are building into our calendar. And so I think there's a lot of great thoughts, and I've shared some ideas on the podcast in the past about appropriate time management and how to plan for the day, how to plan for the week. But it's as important to have a big picture vision for your year. Go into 2025 in full-on attack mode. Get after the new year by having a game plan for what success looks like in 2025. And then it's just a matter of going and doing it. The creation, the vision has been set. Now, because it's all written down, family knows what the vision is for 2025. You know what the vision is. You can put it up in your law firm so the law firm can know what your vision for 2025 looks like. You can encourage this with your other team members, employees at your firm. What a perfect 2025 looks like, what a through the roof 2025, what would be an exciting end to look back and see all of these events and relationships and accomplishments and milestones, to see all of that come to fruition. If we don't go on attack mode, we are going to end up playing defense, and ultimately other people will rob us of all of our time. Not through any ill design, not because they're malicious, but if we are not careful and thoughtful about how we want our 2025 to look like, somebody else will figure it out for us. So this is not a promo for the big ass calendar, although I do love both the name and the size and the way that it's, got everything that you need to plan out the year in that way and made it simple. But I love the idea of having that visualization of what you want your year to look like. So as we launch in here, guys are listening to this on January 1st or later. So when you hear this, it is the new year. The bell has rung. The ball has dropped. Go into 2025 in full-fledged attack mode. Get after it. Live the year that you dream of by visualizing it, putting it onto paper, and sharing it with the world, with your world, whoever and wherever that may be. Look forward to speaking with you next year.